back in early 2019, we were slapped in the face with this.
Gotta go fast.
A terrible CG rendering of the once beloved, cute, and sassy blue blur turned into a hellish nightscape of epically eye-gouging proportions to the culturally confusing tune of Gangsta's Paradise? Forever scarring the Hedgehog's fanbase, turning most to seeking emotional counseling and a larger bottle to empty. That's real gin. Note this graph showing the increase of alcohol consumption and mental health care plans around the same time that the Sonic trailer was released. Coincidence? Probably. Now, like most when this trailer was released, I too was at first completely and utterly shocked. Not being a very big Sonic fan myself, I was no less shaken.
You guys killed the Sonic series!
50% of my brain shut down like having a mini stroke of WTFness, while another 40% of my brain just set itself to autopiloted bemusement. But what did that remaining 10% of my brain do? This is the part of my brain I set aside for cold, calculating, non-emotional business stuff. This is very normal amongst marketers. In other words, this part of my mind saw through the veil of Sonic fanboy tears and read the situation skeptically, simply by slapping a metaphorical label onto it that read, ploy. As the reactions to the trailer, the bastardization and childhood traumatizing grew, that 10% grew out like an infection throughout my cerebral cortex and consumed my mind like an ironic, life-affirming tumor. In other words, I became totally convinced and consumed by the idea that this was not only a marketing ploy by Paramount, but quite possibly one of the most ingenious marketing moves at this scale we have ever seen in recent history. This is gabatwa, this is left brain marketing time. Now let's talk about this. I'm not actually gonna go much into what Sonic is, talk about the video games, the media spin-offs and what have you, because quite honestly, I don't care. Plus, it doesn't necessarily have much relevancy in the meat and potatoes of what I want to discuss, which is the marketing around the first live-action Sonic film. What the studio did, how they did it, and most importantly, why they did it. For quick context, however, this is what happened. The Sonic the Hedgehog trailer came out on April 30th, 2019. It had the first ever official live-action CG version of Sonic that made people a little upset.
His teeth! Why is he wearing melted dentures?
I hate it. I hate it so much.
The internet, in typical fashion, went into an atomic meltdown, both Sonic and non-Sonic fans alike. The director of the movie himself, Jeff Fowler, tweeted, Okay, we hear you whinging snot babies. We'll change the design of Sonic. The studio confirms this and supposedly pumps more money into the film to have the Sonic character design completely redone, shot by shot, throughout the entire, nearly completed film. They then pushed the release date of the film to February 2020. 6 months later, what do you know? There's a new trailer with a new Sonic, new scenes, new music, new everything. The movie finally gets released, makes a ton of cash at the box office opening weekend, and is set to make back its expense easily. Hold tight for the sequel. Thank goodness for that. I mean, I don't really care about Paramount making its dollar back on such a delightfully messy corporate cash grab. However, I am thankful that they got their pennies back on this particular hedgehog of a hedge fund, because it finally closes and confirms my marketing brain on this theory. The first Sonic trailer was intentionally made to be bad. So as the film incited more online discussion, then gained wider global exposure and therefore better ticket sales than it would have if it had not done so. Radical? Yes. Crazy risky? Yes. A silly conspiracy thought up by one little Aussie marketer? Maybe. So, let's do this. Sonic the Hedgehog is a weird enigma of a licensed product, made as a video game rival to Mario in 1991 on a competitor console, and then proceeded to fart out terrible game after terrible game with the main character who was not transitioning well from the 2D environment to the 3D gaming landscape.
But just watch this. You see that? That's Amy falling in an existential nightmare for one frame. Just flipping like, ah! Save your money, kids.
Impressive.
Don't invest in Sonic.
However, at this turn of the century, original and new fans grew and flourished online with their own fan-made content, similar to what Star Wars fans did to the George Lucas universe. Sonic developed its own life in a green valley of boundless areas to frolic, known as the internet. Kids drew themselves as Sonic-inspired characters, teens wrote fan fiction of the blue hedgehog and his pals, as well as some very disturbing erotica. And young adults played his disastrous games and shared their hilarious experiences doing so online.
I can't get off!
What is this?
I can't get off!
What is this?
I'm stuck!
What is my life?
This is all relevant to the justification of the original trailer's existence and that nightmarish design, purely because that's what keeps Sonic alive and thriving for so many years. What I'd like to coin the ugly. The producers at Paramount knew of the ugly or were made aware and educated on the fandom because essentially they were going to be the ones that truly drive this film's relevancy, popularity, and eventually get bums on seats. In short, the marketing teams at Paramount use a combination of various marketing methodologies to market Sonic. The three major forms of marketing Paramount used were content marketing, which involves the creation and sharing of online material, such as videos, blogs, and social media posts, that does not explicitly promote a brand, but is intended to stimulate interest in its products or services. Next on the list is disruptive marketing, which means turning all of the marketing rules upside down, shaking things up and changing the perception not just about your company, but about the industry as a whole. Moreover, disruptive marketing encourages companies to rethink the whole brand. And finally, and probably most importantly, word of mouth marketing, which is an unpaid form of promotion in which customers tell other people how much they like or dislike a business, product, or service. So, if you take each methodology and extract the most important thing from each, it lines itself up like this: online material that shakes things up and gets promoted for free. In the digital era that we're currently in, that translates to people sharing their opinions online, and then people sharing said opinions and people adding their opinions on top of those opinions, and so on and so forth. And to say that some people had a few opinions on the original Sonic trailer that came out, yeah, that's a big understatement. The response was explosive. Twitter, Reddit, and other sites were dominated by Sonic chatter for weeks. Questions were asked, reactions were filmed, other theories came up, not to mention all the new fan art, which harkens back to some of that fan art I was talking about earlier, doesn't it? The photoshopping and memes that seem to spread like digital cancer all across the internet for months on end. They took from the product of Sonic what was most influential and infamous, and translated that ugliness into a medium the ugly had not touched yet: film. Every channel and YouTuber out there has talked to death about the original design, the redesign, and now we'll be talking more about the movie. I mean, I won't because I saw it and I've already forgotten it. But only a few have touched upon the marketing behind the film. Some have similar thoughts to mine, and others argue against it. I welcome all this discussion, and whatever you think, you're more than welcome to add to that discussion in the comments below. However, I feel the evidence pointing towards the original Sonic design just being a carefully constructed mess of marketing manure stacks up very strongly now. So let's take a look at it. Look at any of the online designs of this anthropomorphic hedgehog between 2000 and 2018. Now, compare it to the 2019 first Sonic live-action movie character design. I just want to point out another movie recently that had a live action adaptation from a video game, and this one did not make me want to remove my eyes and throw them into a blender. Pokemon Detective Pikachu. The designs never changed once the trailer was released, and the movie itself was decent, and it made back its costs at the box office. Pokemon designs, fandom online, and games all have a history of being cutesy, wildly loved, and successful both financially and critically. So it makes sense that the design in the live action movie would be treated with the same love, care, and respect to maintain that reputation. And Sonic's reputation does not even come close to this. Controversy, misdirection, and sheer stupidity of the people involved in the Sonic brand have forever scarred the franchise. Now, I'm not saying a lot of talented and decent people didn't try their best on the Sonic brand. Not at all. Who I'm really pointing the finger at are the executives and investors just hell-bent on continuing to milk the nostalgic nectar at this poor hedgehog's teeth. So in true fashion of the franchise, when given over to Paramount Studios to develop, coincidentally, they made very similar missteps on Sonic's ugly past. Now here's physical evidence and just sheer logic to throw in to further substantiate my points. The director of the film himself, Mr. Jeff Fowler, tweeted on the 3rd of May, 2019, that's 3 days after the original trailer's release. Thank you for the support and the criticism. The message is loud and clear. You aren't happy with the design and you want changes. It's going to happen. Everyone at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this character the best he can be. Now, having worked in film a long time and around people who've worked in major productions, there's a few things in here that just don't make sense. One, the director doesn't make the call on putting more spend on a film, especially to fix it. The studio and executives make that call. Two, why did the director put it in a tweet of all things? Surely a proper vetted studio statement would have been more appropriate, unless it was all set up to be announced this way. Three, the tweet itself looks a little too planned and polished, doesn't it? Using clever hashtags and emojis. Four, everyone at Paramount and Sega are fully committed to making this character the best he can be. No mention of the team, the actors, the crew, nor is this stating that he, the director, is fully committed. It just seems off, doesn't it? Especially when you compare all of his earlier and later tweets and the kind of tone and language he uses in those. Now, what about Mr. Ace Ventura himself, Mr. Jim Carrey? Well, it's obvious he's a selling point to fans as Dr. Robotnik, but more importantly for non-fans of the franchise. Why? Well, case in point, I showed only the original trailer to my mother, a 60-year-old woman, and she laughed and said, "I want to see that." She, and many like her, couldn't care less. But Jim Carrey? He's been in things I like. Now, if there was nothing else major on that weekend of February 14th that fits that demographic, which there wasn't, then it makes sense why I saw so many grandparents taking their grandchildren to see a mediocre furry flick. But Gabe, I hear you say, what about all the articles and statements that say that the original trailer was not a hoax or a ploy to get more buzz about the film? What about all the statements that say how much more money they had to throw at the film's budget to fix the design? Okay. First off, as far as I've found through my research, none of the major Paramount executives have made an official statement yet squashing this particular marketing theory. The most major person to tweet a response on this conspiracy has been Tyson Hesse, the artist who worked on the redesign of Sonic. But even his statement seems far too short and definitive. I mean, is that size of a response really worthy of an entire article? That just so happens to be the first thing that comes up on Google when you search this conspiracy. It's almost like Paramount planned it to be. In addition, he's just the designer of the new Sonic. Tyson wasn't in charge of the film's marketing direction. Paramount could easily afford to pull the wool over the public's and their employees' eyes. Sorry, this unnecessarily deep dissecting on this particular topic is making me sound crazy now, isn't it? Oh well. Now, in terms of the additional investment on the CGI, first off, the original budget on this film was way too small to begin with. Compare this 90 mil budget to other similar film budgets like these. Also, that additional investment to the budget plus the pushback cost a measly $5 million to the studio. That's $5 million to redesign every single shot in the whole entire movie that features its main character. Seriously? Do you know how much it cost just to get CGI of Daniel Craig's gloves in just one scene in this James Bond film? Over $1 million. I mean, really? Are you buying this? I mean, clearly you are. Please stop. And one final bit of evidence on the subject of movies is what is known as the movie's budget split. The production versus advertising split. So that split can be anything from 30 to 70% spent on advertising versus the remaining spent to production costs. And on average, films from major studios spend at minimum $30 million per film on just the marketing. Fun fact, 14% of that marketing budget on average is spent on digital and can affect as much as 46% of a film's revenue. So don't tell me that a studio film with $95 million was always destined to splash that much on a property film such as Sonic the Hedgehog. The studio had to get creative with their marketing, and that meant creating a trailer that would get people noticing. Because remember, word of mouth marketing is free. But be honest, even as a Sonic fan, would you have talked as much about this remake trailer if it had come out instead of this abomination?
Meow?
For example, these scenes. Notice anything? There's no one else but Sonic in these scenes. 50% of the original trailer is just Sonic, and hardly any shots or scenes that contain interactions between him and the cast. And most of the rest of the trailer is just Jim Carrey being Jim Carrey. Whereas the new one is like the complete reversal. It's mostly Sonic interacting with others. The way the new Sonic design talks, his words and energy, just don't feel like they're coming from the same kind of character at all.
I know you're gonna get a lot of questions today about the CGI and
Sure.
the beginning CGI and then the new CGI we see. I was just curious, when they fixed it, did you have to do anything else in the fixing process?
Good question. I did not.
And I could go on and on and on and dive way deeper than humanly necessary into all of this. But I have a life, you know. The movie was bad. I mean, subpar at best, and the producers knew it was going to be. So many video game-based movies have fallen short of reclaiming their budget at the box office. Paramount anticipated this and took the steps necessary from the get-go to avoid this altogether. What did they spend on this exclusive and carefully crafted film trailer? Well, pennies compared to the rest of the film. Look at the view count on the original trailer, and from many various trailer channels. All those numbers put together are astronomical. Then look at the updated trailer. Nothing gets people's attention more than video. It's easily digestible and shareable on any social platform these days. And as a marketer, I am always encouraging my clients to utilize video in their digital marketing. When done well and with intention, it really works. Paramount aren't the only ones to ever intentionally exploit the ugliness of their products to gain online discussion. Look at the Joker and Joaquin Phoenix's more gritty, realistic portrayal of the character, or Tesla and their recent unveiling of their Cybertruck, or even Gucci with their balaclava face mask beanie thing and... Wait, no. People actually bought that? Are you serious? Paramount were just the first to do it and get such a large response, one that met the eyes and ears of fans and non-fans just as much. It's quite the phenomenon when you think about it. If you're still in the camp of thinking that this massive studio with its billions of dollars, hundreds of creatives and marketing staff, all doing their best to be intimately familiar with this beloved Sonic brand, and then just thought, yeah, that's the design we're going with, and we know everyone will like it, then I don't know what to tell you. I mean, look, it's teeth. It's human teeth. I mean, what the fuck? The Sonic team at Paramount did something so ingenious, so bizarre, that it really was doomed to fail and succeed at the same time without question. They picked the right product at the right time in history, with the right medium, with the right fan base, all with the perfectly pitched, playing innocent game plan that embraced the true essence and reason of Sonic's longevity. Its obscure, incredibly self-aware, and highly amusing ugliness. So look, sincerely, Paramount, bravo. Just bravo. You did it. You did something amazing, honestly. And you got my money and millions of others too, so you can't complain. If it was intentional or not, it worked. So what's your thoughts, internet? Come at me with your thoughts and theories. I am truly curious. I mean, can you see this particular marketing strategy being used in other mediums, not just film? Or have you seen examples of marketing like this being done before? Let me know below in the comments. And at the end of the day, if I'm wrong, so what? I had fun making this video and I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you want to support me for as little as a few bucks a month, you can jump over to my Patreon. Go on, I'd really appreciate it. There are some tasty rewards just waiting to be gobbled up by all my Cub Scouts, and you'll be supporting more deep dives like this into internet culture and be told how it's affecting the marketing landscape. Link in the description below. And if nothing else, you can do this for free and like and share this video, and don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell so you are notified when I release a new video. This was Gabatwa, this was Left Brain Marketing, and thanks for watching. Peace out, Cub Scout.